start by giving the cards a quick shuffle and a couple of cuts, just to make sure we start in a random position. We're going to need 2 cards for this, so I'm just going to take the top 2 cards, 7 of spades and the Queen of Hearts. I'm going to put the Queen of Hearts back to back with the 7 of spades, and I'll ask you to hold your hand out, and I'm going to place the 2 cards in your hand. Now place your other hand on top and just squeeze. Now take the hand off. You should notice that they merge and become one. But we can get them apart with just a flick, so you can see there's the 7 and then there is the Queen. This is Waltzer. Now this is my version of Anniversary Waltz. Now you can't have the 2 cards signed, but there's no real need in this instance, as it's a very quick and hard hitting trick. There's a lovely moment of misdirection when the spectators are involved, and then at the end there's such a visual kind of split of the 2 cards. So this hits really hard, and this has come straight out of my working repertoire. I've taught this before on the Visualize project, but as we've got a double facer in this deck, this is kind of one of my favourite kind of tricks to do with a double facer. So this is Waltzer. Here's how to perform Waltzer. So in the blue turn playing cards, you're going to get a double facer. Now this can be used with either the red or the blue pack, or you can make yourself a double facer. So we've got the Queen, Hearts and the 7 of spades. So the first thing you're going to need to do is find the 7 of spades and the Queen of Hearts. So once you've got your cards, here's the setup. Now you're going to need the double facer, and it needs to be whichever card is opposite from the top, because we're going to do this double lift in a second. So if the top card is the Queen, then have the 7 face down this way. So if I chose the 7 to go on the top card and the Queen to go next, then I'd turn the double facer so the Queen was face down this way. So that means that we're going to get this look in a second. So that's the setup, the double facer on the bottom, and whatever card is facing down, we can have the opposite card on the top. To start off with, we're going to need a break under those top 3 cards. So I would use a pinky count here, so count until 3 cards. So the pinky count is this. I'm going to press down with my thumb, and the little finger is going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to get a break. Or you could push over the top 3 cards, being careful not to expose that double facer, and get a break. So this can be done just casually as you're talking, just push over, and it's quite easy because you can see this card. Get a break, but make sure you don't flash that. Or if you're fairly new to Magic, then you're going to riffle up until 1, 2, 3, the top 3 cards, and get a break. So whatever your preferred method of getting a break is under the top 3 cards, that's the first thing we're going to have to do. So next we're going to do a couple of things at once. We're going to perform the Stuart Gordon double lift as we flip over this top card. We're going to pull everything above the break, so the 3 cards to the right, and the top card is going to get held back by the thumb. And now as we do the Stuart Gordon double lift, it will automatically flip over that top card, which I then thumb off to the right here. So here's how to do the Stuart Gordon double lift on its own. So I've got my index finger on the top, my thumb is kind of like just hanging on in there, index finger here, and what I'm going to do is my thumb is going to slide down the face of this card to meet my kind of middle finger here, and it's going to keep those 2 cards aligned. So here from this angle I'm going to slide everything down and keep those 2 cards from spreading. So that's a Stuart Gordon double lift. It takes a little bit of practice, but it's a really lovely double lift, and it really helps in this trick. So from the top, pick up the packets above the break. I strip over the top card with my left thumb as I do the Stuart Gordon double lift, and my kind of thumb acts as a pivot there, you can see, and that top card is going to get flipped as I perform the Stuart Gordon double lift. Now immediately I kind of thumb over this card and I align it with my index finger so it's kind of nice and square to the pack, and then this is nice and square in my right hand. Now immediately I come over and I place the double under that card and I grip it with my third finger. Is the only thing that's holding on here. Middle finger can contact a little bit, but it's just gripped with the third finger. So Stuart Gordon double lift, I push over the top card and then I line the double lift underneath this card squarely, gripping it with that third finger. Now what we're going to do, we're going to pull out the middle card from this packet as I push forward with this queen and pull back with this to align these nice and square. And this side of the deck really helps with this. So I've just placed it underneath. I'm going to pull out this card as I square up these. Pull over, Stuart Gordon double lift, put under straight away, and then I square as I pull out. So this will square nicely. You can use the side of this, you can use your fingers underneath, and it's all done in one fluid motion. So double lift, place under, square. So I'm just exposing that for you there. Now what we're going to do, we're going to use this card to flip, which is a double facer. We're going to flip over that double. And now, here's the bit where you need a bit of audience participation. So what you can do, you can thumb over this card for which they think is a queen, but the queen is actually underneath here. And then we position these two cards together and we hold them like this so they can see they're two separate cards. Next, I'm going to use this pack to square these so they are kind of like as one, but I'm not going to show this bottom face. I'm immediately going to say hold your hand out, and then as they hold their hand out I'm going to come over to look like I just placed those two cards in their hand, but in reality I'm going to ditch this card on top of this pack. So I square up, I say hold your hand out. As I come over, watch the ditch. I just drop that card from under there. So I come over, I drop, and I place now just the single double facer in their hand and ask them to cover it. And then for a second you can do whichever kind of magical gesture you want, and then show the two cards have merged and become one. Now I spin this, and because we've got the 7 over here, what I do, I make sure the 7 is face up. So you can't do this now if the queen is face up. So I always make sure the 7's face up, or queen, depending on which way you've done it around. But whichever card is here, you want to make sure this card is face up. And now what we're going to do is this little move. It looks so good, bam, like that. It looks like the 7 just jumps off. And all we're doing is we are flipping this card over very quickly. So in the right hand, my fingers along the side, my index finger is behind, and I just ping off with a thumb and I let that card flick over. So boom, that's all I'm doing in the right hand, but it looks like this 7 jumps kind of over. And what we do in the left hand is I push forward a fraction, or you can get a break and then push the deck back a fraction with the index, just so this card is stepped out a fraction. And then I'm going to build up pressure with a thumb. Index finger is going to press up against these 3 fingers, and then we're going to get this to pop. So you can see this is pop. So I teach this on our YouTube channel in the kind of top card pop over tutorial, so you can have a look at that. But push up with the index, down with the thumb, and it's going to pop off these fingers, and it's just going to flip over. So that's all the left hand's doing. It's just flipping that top card over. And as you do that, bam, it looks like the 7 just flies off. So up to speed. So check it out. Wow, it's actually 2 cards have become 1. But look, we can get it apart, bam, like that, and it looks like it jumps off. Now all that's left to do is clean up this dirty card here. So what we're going to do, we're going to come over and we're going to switch these cards as I show the back of the 7 to place that down. And now all I'm going to do is a push off double lift as I risk hill the deck to show this queen, and then you can flip this over to really show. Another nice way you can do this is to have a card turned over on the bottom of the deck. So that when you do the flip bam. Now when I come over, I switch these cards, I show the back of the 7, I leave it down, I do my pushover double lift, and then as I risk hill to come over here, it leaves kind of like a face-up deck, and then I can show both backs fairly. And that is Waltzer. So here you can see what's going on underneath. Getting a pinky break under the top 3 cards. I'm coming over, stripping off the top card as I do a Stuart Gordon. I then align the cards, and underneath my middle and third finger are holding. I strip out the middle card, and then I align these 2 cards like this. Turn over the double with this card, do not flush this side. Push over this card. And now you square up, as you say. Hold out your hands. As I come over, I drop this card off as I place that in their hands. Ask them to cover it for a second. Do your magical gesture to reveal the card has merged and become one. Now you can do the flip over move. So this flips over as you do the top pop in the left hand. Immediately exchange those cards to show they've separated. I do push off double lift here, risk hill, and then you can clearly show both backs.